Happy morning, children. Welcome to Blue Stars High Secondary School online classes. So today we are going to see your English class for Standard 9. Okay. So the Old Man River part 2 we are going to see today. Understood? So already we have seen this part 1, isn't it? Yes. Where we have stopped, do you remember this Old Man River story? Yes. So this story is about the disaster management, isn't it? So how the crew members, okay, the children who has suffering from this disaster, okay, how they were rescued. It is about the disaster management, okay, how they save, how they survive after the flood happens. Do you remember that story? Yeah. What are the characters we have here? Yeah, they are the Amy was there. Then who were there? Marshall and Jim was there. Rose was there. Betty. Okay. Yeah. So here we are just going to see the next part of the story, the Old Man River. Understood? Yeah. So this is happening after a hour later. Okay. After 1 hour, this scene is happening. So before we saw the scene which was happening earlier. So where we stopped, so that was Jim was, he was just climbing on the roof and he was waving the flashlight to ask for help so that someone will come and rescue them, isn't it? Because there were nobody to help them, so they were about to ask for help. So Jim is just climbing on the roof and is waving the torchlight so that they could get some help. Okay. Meanwhile, Amy thought at least Jim is there to help them. So this was the scenario in the first scene. Okay. Now scene 2. Scene 2 is happening after 1 hour. Okay. Now again see the same group of people is in the living room except Jim. Why? Because Jim is in the roof. Okay. He is just waving the flashlight to ask for help. Similarly, Sarah is asleep. Okay. So Sarah is sleeping covered with a blanket in a big chair. And Amy, Rose and Betty have 3 candles on the table. Okay, this is the scene. Just imagine this. Understood? And now Betty is trying to read the book. See, Betty. So what happened? Betty was very much annoyed. She was irritated. Why? Because she could not read anything in the light. The light was so dim and she could not read the book properly, and so she put the book with a thud. What is thud? That sound, no, when you keep your book very roughly in the bench or some surface table, you will get hear that sound, the thud sound. Okay, so she was wondering how the grandmothers used to read the book in those days, because in those days there will be no light, isn't it? So she was wondering how the grandmothers used to read the books in the days when there was no light at all. So now see, Rose is reacting. How she is retracting, and she is telling, never read beyond a time when it gets dark. So what is she telling? It's almost time. Okay, now it is dark as well. So better don't read. Okay, try not to read. Okay. So because the scenario is very dark, so better don't read now. So Rose is telling that. Understood? She said that they went to sleep when it got dark. Okay. So what is she telling? Yeah. So and also she is telling, like, Amy is telling they'll be going to bed when it becomes dark, because we are talking about the grandmothers, no? Since Betty could not read the book because of the darkness, she was very irritated. Okay, so Rose is telling, like, they will not read the book when it becomes very dark. Understood? So Amy is telling, yes, so they will be going to bed by the time when it becomes dark. So she's telling it's nearly 11, but I couldn't sleep a wink. So Amy also wants to sleep. Okay, but she was not able to sleep because why? Yeah, they are in the mid of a flood. Okay. So now Betty and Rose also agreed. What for what? Yeah, for what Amy is telling. Okay, she says that she could not sleep, isn't it? So Betty and Rose is also agreeing to Amy. Understood? And they said that they are also not sleepy. Suddenly, they all hear a noise. So what is the noise? See, what's that noise? All three listen. Rose running to the window and peering out. I can't see a thing. It's pitch dark. It sounded like something bumping against the house. So what is this? So Rose is running near the window to see what is the sound. And she said that she could not see anything because it was very dark. Pitch dark means very dark. Okay, so but the sound was like something hitting against the house. Bumping is hitting. Understood? Something is dashing against the house. So Mr. Peters is telling, Mr. Marshall, are you all right? This is Tom Peters and Miss Marsh, the Red Cross nurse. We are here in a boat. So what is this? So who was outside? Yeah, Mr. Peter. So Mr. Peter has come in a boat, and that boat was hitting against the house. That was the sound heard by them. Okay. So Mr. Peter said, and whether everything was all right inside the house of Mr. Marshall. Okay. And he was Tom Peters, and Miss Marsh, the nurse, the Red Cross nurse. Okay. So she has also come along with Tom Peters to save them. Clear? And they have just came in a boat to inquire about Mr. Marshall and his family. Understood? So see here. So Jim asked them to come from the backyard. Row around the back porch. You can get in there. Understood? So what is this? So Jim is asking to come from the backyard. Okay. There is a bumping of the boat against the wood. Steady. Now there. I've got the hold of the rail. Tie her up. So what are all these things? Yeah. So someone was telling to hold the boat steady, and he would hold the railings to tie the boat because they want to get into the house to save them, isn't it? So they want to hold the railings to tie the boat. So Jim and Amy go to them and welcome them. Okay, yes. So see here. Jim and Amy exit right towards the voices. More voices greeting, and then Mr. Peters enters the living room with a lighted lantern, followed by Miss Marsh, Amy, and Jim. So what is this? Yeah. So here Jim and Amy go to them and welcome them. Mr. Peters enters the living room along with Miss Marsh, Amy, and Jim. So all these four are coming inside the living room now. Okay, so Sarah. Oh, where am I? So why is she asking this? Because she was sleeping, isn't it? So she is asking. She wakes up and recalls where she is. Now, Rose. Come on. Okay, so she just helps to Sarah. Okay, to the attic. And see here. Yeah, so she wraps the blanket around Sarah and takes Sarah with the single candle. So she's just trying to take Sarah to the attic with a single candle. Understood? Ought to get father's most valuable books and mother's jewel case. So what is this now? Emmy told Jim that she wants to save her dad's most valuable books and her mom's jewel case. Okay. And she was thinking about what else to take when Jim interferes. So what is this? So Amy wanted to take some valuable books of his father's and the jewel case of his mother's. Okay. And then she was thinking what else she want to take. By the time Jim is interfering. Okay. He's just interrupting. Okay. See here. Yeah, he says that more than those books and water, what is very important? See, Emmy, we will need water and food more than books and jewels. So what they need? Water and food. He says that more than books and jewels, water and food are very essential. They are very important. He said to Amy that she does not understand that things are beyond, and suddenly they heard a loud cry. Okay, he is interrupted by a cry from outside, right? So what is this? He heard a loud cry suddenly. What is that cry? See, Mr. Peters. Hello there. Hello in the house. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall. So, Amy, they have come for us. Here we are. So, she is running to the window. Okay. So, here we are in here. Yeah. Are we rescued? Who is there? Mr. Marshall, are you all right? This is Tom Peters and Miss Marsh, the Red Cross nurse. We are here in a boat. We are rescued. We are rescued. Come, Sarah. Why are you children all alone? Okay. So what is this? Mr. Peter is coming inside now. He is entering and asking Mr. Marshall. He is asking for Mr. Marshall. He thought that Mr. Marshall is there. Okay. But then Amy realized that Mr. Peters had come to help them and she runs to the window to see. So now Jim joins her with the third candle and waves to Mr. Peters. He calls them screaming that they are inside. Okay. So Jim is just calling, he's just screaming, telling that here we are. Okay. We are inside here. So Betty heard them and she carried her box of dress and asked if they were being rescued and who had come to save them. Mr. Peter was still waiting outside on a boat and said that he and Miss Marsh have come to help them. Betty was happy as they were being rescued and called out for Sarah. So Betty is calling Sarah also to come. Mr. Peter was very much amazed. Why? Because the children are all alone, isn't it? So why the children are all alone in the home? So Mr. Peter was very much amazed. Okay. So Amy was trying to explain why they were on their own, why they were all alone in the house, why the children were all alone. And suddenly they heard a terrible crash and someone screaming. Okay, so something has crashed down and someone screaming. They heard a voice of it. So whose voice is this? See. Oh, Sarah, she's fallen off the step ladder. Come quick, somebody. I've dropped my candle and it's gone out. Okay, so what happened? Yeah, so Sarah has fallen from the steps and she needs someone to come quickly and help her. Okay, so Rose is telling. What is she telling? Sarah has fallen from the steps. Okay, so Sarah needs some help. Okay, even she has dropped the candle. Rose has dropped the candle and it was off. Okay, and Mr. Peters, Amy, and Miss Marsh rushed to help them. Understood? So Betty was being sarcastic and said that Sarah did not break her neck. Very sarcastically, Betty is telling, see, I hope she hasn't broke her neck. Okay, it's a sarcastic statement. Okay, wantedly she is telling this. Now, what is Jim saying? Get the first aid box. It's in that pile of coats. I'll fix a place for her to lie down. Understood? So what is Jim is asking? He's asking for a first aid box. Okay, so which is under the pile of coats. Then he arranges the chair for Sarah to lie down. Understood? So he's arranging the chairs. And Mr. Peters carried Sarah out. Steady now, you're all right. More frightened than hurt, I think. So what is he telling? Yeah, so he says, Mr. Peter, he's carrying Sarah out, isn't it? And said she is feeling better now and was more scared. Okay, what is frightened? Scared, afraid, okay, than hurt. Then he placed Sarah on the bed of chairs which Jim had made. Okay, now Amy brought a lantern near Sarah and said that she was glad that Miss Marsh, the nurse, was there to attend the emergency. So why Amy is telling this? Because Miss Marsh has come along with Peters to rescue them. Understood? So at this time of emergency, Amy is at least happy that Miss Marsh is there to help them. Okay. So now Miss Marsh is examining Sarah. She is just checking Sarah. Okay. So see, Sarah is crying, is sobbing softly. So what is this? She is crying and said that it is hurts. It's paining. Okay. So now Rose sat next to Sarah and held her hand to comfort her. Okay, Jim and Betty stood behind them. So what is this? Jim stands in the background with Betty means they're just standing behind Sarah. Understood? Yeah. Now, Sarah's telling, it's my leg that hurts. So what is he telling? What is Sarah telling? Sarah's telling that it was her leg that is paining so much. Okay, so Miss Marsh is telling, yes, you have hurt it badly, Sarah, but we can fix it up and we will all get into the boat and take you home. You're going to be all right. She has broken her right leg just below the knee. We can splint it up with pillows and umbrella and lift her safely into the boat. I think we ought to take her to the emergency Red Cross hospital in the armory. So what is this? Sarah told that she was hurted in the leg, isn't it? So now Miss Marsh is inspecting Sarah and told her that she had hurt her leg very badly. Okay, so she also said, okay, so what Miss Marsh said, she also said that Sarah will be fine soon, okay, and then to get into the boat and to go home. Understood? So now Miss Marsh asked Mr. Peters, Jim and Amy to come aside as she wanted to tell that Sarah has broken her right leg below the knee, but she didn't say it to Sarah because she is a little girl. She'll be frightened, isn't it? So Miss Marsh didn't say that to Sarah. She just said that it will be all right, soon we can go home. But Miss Marsh was calling these four people, okay, Peters, Jim, Amy, to come aside, okay, so that to just tell them that Sarah has broken the right leg below the knee, okay. She said that they could support the leg with pillows and umbrella, okay, since they do not have any facility, okay, because they have to take Sarah to the hospital, the nearby hospital. So before that they need to fix the leg. So she said they could give support to the leg with the help of pillows and umbrella so that they could get Sarah into the boat. Okay, so Sarah needed to be taken into an emergency Red Cross hospital in the armory. Understood? So they have to take Sarah to the hospital now. So Mr. Peter is telling, we can take Rose and Betty also along with us. So but Jim, you and Amy will have to stay until we can get back for you or send some other boat. Understood? So what is Mr. Peter telling? He suggested that they could take Rose and Betty along with Sarah. Jim and Amy needed to stay there until they sent another boat or they could get back. Miss Marsh arranges the splint. Okay, what is a splint? Yes, Sarah's right leg with pillow, cane and umbrella. He is fixing the Sarah's right leg. Understood? So that it is stiff. So we should not give any movement to the leg, isn't it? Yes. So she's just giving Miss Marsh is giving support to the broken leg with the pillow, cane and umbrella. Understood? Now so Jim is telling. What does Jim says? He says he and Amy can stay back. It's perfectly safe up on the roof. Okay, so Jim says that it is good for us. It is okay for us to stay back and wait for them while they take care of Sarah and others. Understood? So they said that they would be hold back on the roof. And Mr. Peter suggests that he can leave another lantern and a jar of coffee for them. Okay, he asks if they need anything else. So we can leave you an extra lantern and a jar of coffee. So Mr. Peter is telling to Jim. Understood? So here Amy says, only some of your calmness. Will be all right. Thanks. So Emmy liked Mr. Peter's calm even in that situation. So what is this? The main thing is, if any disaster happens, the first thing is we should not get panic, isn't it? That itself will solve the problem to great extent. So here Amy is telling that the way you show, the way you handle the situation with your calm, okay, that is enough for us. Okay, so she said that she needed the calmness which Mr. Peters had and thanked him for that. Okay, so Mr. Peter is telling, don't thank me, thank the Red Cross. Okay, so what is he telling? Yeah, to thank the Red Cross. So what does the Red Cross means here? Miss Marsh, isn't it? So Mr. Peter said that they had to express the gratitude to the Red Cross and not him. Okay, and he lifted Sarah and with the help of a blanket which forms the stretcher for her. So the blanket was acting as a stretcher for Sarah. Understood? And Miss Marsh takes her bag, picks up her bag, okay, takes her bag, and Jim helps Mr. Peter carry Sarah towards the boat without hurting her. So who is helping Mr. Peter? Yes, Jim is helping Mr. Peter to lift Sarah. Understood? Towards the boat so that Sarah will not get hurt more. And now Mr. Peter is calling Betty and Rose along, okay? And Rose takes her coat, but Betty even takes her dress box along with her overcoat. In drowsiness, Sarah said that her legs stopped hurting. Miss Marsh gave her something. Understood? So see, Miss Marsh gave me something to stop the hurt. It has almost gone. So the Miss Marsh is a nurse, Red Cross nurse, isn't it? So she has given her some medication so that it is not hurting anymore. Understood? So now who is getting ready? Yeah, so Sarah, Mr. Peter, Miss Marsh, and then Betty and Rose are all getting ready to take Sarah to the hospital. Understood? Now, Emmy is telling at the door, dropping a kiss on Sarah's forehead as they carry her out. That's fine, dear. Have a nice boat ride. Try to get a word to mother that we are all right here. And Betty and to Jim's family too. I'll try. I hope you'll be rescued soon. Bye. Goodbye, Emmy. Good luck. Goodbye. Okay. So what they are telling Emmy kissed Sarah on the forehead and said and assured Sarah that everything will be all right soon. And Emmy wished her to have a pleasant boat ride. Okay. She waves. She just say bye to Betty and Rose to say goodbye. Okay. Amy wanted Betty to tell her mother and Jim's family that they are all safe, they are all good. Okay. Betty said bye to Amy and hoped that they would find help soon so that Amy and Jim also will come back to them. Okay. So Rose said goodbye and good luck to Amy. And then Amy responded and the boat left. So finally the boat has moved. Okay. And yeah, and it was gone. The boat made a loud noise and it has gone. See, sound than before. The thumping only less loud than before, and voices give directions. Amy fuses with the lantern trying to get it lighted. So what is this? Amy responded and the boat left. The boat made a loud noise and then it was gone as they could hear the voices giving directions. Amy tried to light the lantern. Mr. Peter assures Jim that they will be fine. Okay, and see here. Yes, don't worry about us. Goodbye. So what is Jim is telling? Not to worry about them. And they said they'll be safe. Okay. And the boat went out of the sight. Okay. So Emmy gets the lantern lighted and blows out candle. Water's dropping. Okay. And here's to the coffee, lantern and rescue. I'm glad we have a wide awake, well-equipped disaster committee in town. and a Red Cross nurse for emergencies. Thank God for the rescue. So what is this? Yeah, the Emmy lighted the lantern now and blew out the candles, and the water is still dropping. Jim poured out the coffee for himself and Emmy. He handed it over to Emmy and raised the coffee like a toast. Okay, Jim said, "Here's to the coffee, lantern, and rescue mission." He said that he was glad that they were awake and they had a well managed disaster committee. Amy added and said that they even had a Red Cross nurse for any medical emergency also. Okay, so both of them lift the coffees as if in a toast and started drinking. Understood? So, and they are waiting for the boat to rescue them. Clear? I hope you understand the lesson, children. So here is the mind map. Just see here, it was a rainy day in March. Amy, Betty, Rose, and Jim decide to stay indoors. So what happened? Shutdown of electricity and telephone stopped working, isn't it? So each one take responsibility to do some work. So Rose's sister Sarah caught in a playhouse posh. Okay, so who is saving Rose? Jim, isn't it? So Jim is saving the Rose. And then what happens? The river kept on rising. And Jim shows flashlight for help. Jim is just going to the roof, is climbing the roof and shows the flashlight for help. Mr. Peter and Miss Marsh rescue them in a boat. Miss Marsh relieves Sarah's pain. Why? Because she has broken her right leg. Okay. And they feel happy about the disaster committee. And the Red Cross nurse was also there along with the disaster committee. Do you understand this story, children? Yes. So your assignment part now, read the lesson, go through it fully and understand it. Then learn the short answers, meanings, everything, and the paragraph from the PDF. Okay, so copy down the question answers and paragraph, whatever I'm giving along with this video. Copy the PDF into your classwork. Okay, and learn it. Okay, children. Okay, I hope you're all safe and sound. Thank you, children. Have a blessed day.